not that you wouldn't be shit without me, but understand that you might wear the pants, but I control the zipper. You feel what I'm saying when I say what I'm saying?
That part. That part. No,
That's right.
because we have these conversations all the time about can a female be too independent?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all of us are like very hardworking people, and that we can bring a lot to the table. So I think that intimidates a lot of people.
Okay.
And I think that it might intimidate someone who thinks the woman belongs at home and the man belongs at work. Because that's not who I am, and who my working field in its own is intimidating to some. So I think that can be intimidating to anyone. And I think that's a struggle that we're going through now too, is that as like a man wants us to be so like, oh, like you take care of me and I can take care of myself with or without you. I'm not saying that I won't let him pick up the tab, or let him pay and I'll put the tip down. Like there's a happy medium, there's no like you need to take care of me. And I think that's something that I struggle with. And it's like an ongoing process, is that independency is like, it's new, it's like we're grateful to have that. I'm grateful to be independent and have it on my own and not say that somebody's gave it to me. And I think that whoever I'm going to end up with, he has to understand that. Like,
and we always say too, like, whatever I ask for, I can always provide. I'm never going to ask you for shit that I cannot give you. And I think that's what men need to understand. So if I hold to the standard, or if I exclude A, B, and C,
no, I can do the same.
Bring A, B, C, and D to the table.
Yeah.
Never get it twisted. And like she was talking about independence, there was actually, Kasana and Makata were on live like a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about, can a woman be too independent or something like that. And I was like, it's important to find somebody that compliments you and not completes you. And I think somebody was like, I don't think it's about compliment. And I'm like, I don't think you understand I don't need somebody to tell me, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you look good. You wearing that dress. Like, listen, whenever I get sad, I remember what that ass do in a sundress, baby boy. Okay, so don't tell me what I look like. I know that. But my compliment, I mean, somebody that matches my hustle, my drive, my ambition. There's gonna be days where I don't feel like myself and I'm feeling down. Are you gonna be that extra push, that support, that motivation that I need to get to where I want to be? And vice versa. When my man is feeling down or whatever, you still need that support in a relationship. But that independent, but baby boy, trust and believe, I'm here because I want to be here, not because I have to be here.
Yeah. And I think that's also just a shift. Like,
right.
It really is. And I agree as well. And like, I feel like especially with our generation right now, it's a lot of, okay, like, what can you do for me? Can you buy me a bag? Can you do this? Can you take me on a trip? Like, I don't need none of that, because I can do that for myself. What I need to know is like, okay, because I feel like even at, all of us are like in close age range, right? Same time, we're still trying to like better ourselves, and whether like financially, career wise, like almost every aspect, because this is that time to do it. And it is like hard, it might be difficult to be in a relationship while trying to do that, but it also takes both parties committing, like, okay, this is what you can do, I can do this as well. Or if right now I need to focus on myself, then that should be like your focus, you know what I mean? And plus, like, for example, for me, marriage is work. And as that saying goes, like, it takes a little bit longer for men to mature and really like understand all of that stuff. But if you're not really like willing to work on it now, because I feel like to get into a relationship anyway, it's best if each of you bring your best self forward, right, to whoever you give it to. Because if you're comfortable, if you're not secure, if you're not confident in who you are and what you can bring to the table, and the same with that other person, like, it's not gonna work. Whatever time in your life that you get into a relationship. So that's definitely like important to consider.
Yeah, that's definitely like, you're definitely spitting facts. I feel like the younger generation, and not even Habesha or not Habesha, just the culture is kind of shifting, where oh, he better have a bag, he better, like, I get why the guys are frustrated by it, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and
It's
then
unrealistic, like, to expect that.
Right.
very
All the time. If we were a nigga, I don't think I could take how much shut down these niggas get. Like, having their, like, just the courage to go get, like, to try to holler at someone and just get skirted, it's just like, it takes a lot. Men are expected to do a lot. Like, when it comes to, yeah, we might have to do a lot too. Whatever, we might have to worry about our hair, nails, everything. Goddamn, we gotta go through a lot as females. But men also are not allowed to show their emotions, are not allowed to pretend like you don't have, or you have to pretend like you have money. You have to have so much confidence, just in case, like, you get turned down by a female, you pick yourself up and go do another, or try to holler at another one. You know, they got a lot of shit going too, and as I think as we get older, we realize that too. And it's, I've never been to a one to bash a man. Like, even when I, like, broke up with someone or they did you dirty, I always give the benefit of the doubt. Somehow, some way, maybe it was the way I was raised, maybe I don't know what it was. Something in me always just says, oh, maybe that person wasn't meant for me. They're meant for someone. They're not a bad person. They're just for me, or just like they're like, or you're fixing them up for somebody else, you know. And that's fine, because if that's what it takes, if I'm fixing up niggas for the next person, God got somebody else way better waiting for me. And
that's God talking. Yep.
So I'm just like, I'm not gonna sit there and bash a man. And I think that I don't know, because I feel like men just, okay, for the Habeshas, I think that women, we ventured off and we know, like, we're ready. Like, hey, Habesha guys, like, come for us now. We're here. Yeah, and like, oh, I'm a bad bitch now. And that's another thing I would like to talk about too, because these girls are feeling themselves away a little too much, right? But after all this, like, Tory Lanez, and like they were saying in your other episode, Tory Lanez and Drake and everyone talking about Habeshas, they just got big headed, and that's not who we are, because we're known to be very humble people, and they're kind of like taking that and like just letting it go to their head because of social media. But
social media all cap too, honestly.
That's why I said a generational thing though, because we didn't grow up with social media. Like, it didn't pop off until we were already older and like had our values set, and like, you know what I mean, like we had already experienced some life before like it became a thing. And so now it's kind of like, I feel like it's going to be harder for them to navigate, because they also don't know how to have in-person relationships, like you know what I mean. And I think that's where a lot of these unrealistic expectations come from. And so it's hard for me, because I'm always like, I think too, all of us are a little bit similar too, where we're always trying to be understanding and we're supportive and like loving and all this stuff. And we get this misconception, but because like we're put on this pedestal of like, oh, Habesha girls are so bad, they're so pretty, like it already feels uncomfortable, like, because you're like, damn, is she gonna reject me? You know what I mean? And you're already like putting yourself in this hole. And then if you don't have your shit together, you feel like you need to. And it's like, no, we could build together. Like we're all in that same age range. Like, don't think that I expect just because you're the man that you have to like, nigga, yeah, if you have a Benz, cool, I'm so proud of you, like be successful or whatever. But nigga, if you in the hoopty and you working towards the Benz, like the Benz, and you have the hustle, like I'm gonna support that too. And it's like I think that part gets kind of misconstrued, because like you said, on social media, it is a lot of cap. Like the fuck, like, hella cap, like nigga. I know some of y'all, so I'll be looking like, you talking reckless, because that's not how you live, you know? It's not how your parents live.
And just social media really just goes to like, I mean, of course on social media we want to show like the best like version of us, right? But that's also like, it's not realistic, because you know, not everybody got it like that, not everybody's in the best place in their lives, or we're all going through different things. But it's like, nobody, like our generation right now, I feel like does not value true love, or like, you know, because I mean, from the music that we listen to how we portray ourselves, or you know, what we idolize on social media, it's just shallow shit, like, you know, looks. And it's like, when you really get down to the root of love, right, as who was it that was saying, like, humbling us basically, like, or we need a, you know, the Habesha girls right now that are like, is getting to our heads. And it's like, we are, yes, beautiful, like one of the most beautiful women on the planet, right? But when we focus on that, that's where it gets ugly. That's where it's just like emptiness. Because I think, who was it that said it in the first episode with the boys? Was it Nebu? He's like, there's a lot of pretty girls, but like
there's no
nothing
depth.
much to offer. Yeah, there's no depth. Like, you know, and for me, like, I can see a fine ass nigga, but if you don't have no depth, I want to, like, where's your soul? Where's your like ambition? Where's your passion? If I don't see that, your looks mean nothing. You dead, just as dead to me as like your mood. That, like, you know what I mean? So when we really look at love and like what it really means, it's that deep connection where if you're not really like about that, then it's like, what are you giving out? Like, and plus, like, with the pressure, not only do we feel that pressure for ourselves, and like being a Habesha man or woman, you know, we feel that pressure from our parents. Okay, go to school, get your degree, get a job. Okay, now get a wife or get a husband, like, you know. But also in America, like, you know, even if you're educated or not, you know, we definitely go through a whole bunch of obstacles to get half of what they have, right? So it's like that takes a whole process, and mentally I feel like they don't know what that does to us, like, you know, all in the midst of the process of trying to find ourselves and potentially also find our husband or our wives for the future. You know, it's a lot to process, it's a lot to like go through, that I feel like also disencourages men from really thinking about like marriage and kids and things like that.
And Habesha men, we value you guys. You know, it's more than in the past. Yeah, we may have been focused on looks, and we may be into our looks to a certain extent, but we don't look at y'all any less because you're not built like a wide receiver that plays for the Falcons, or you're not freaking 6'7" and you play for the Lakers, or whatever the case may be. There are traits about you that you can't teach that, you know? So like I said, Habesha men, we value, we appreciate you. We may not have realized that now, but better late than never. You feel me?
With that 100%. And I think that's low-key why I've always been a person of attracting to personality. Like, personality is always been my thing. Like, like how you said, like, you could be fine as hell, but just have nothing inside.
That kills it even more.
So a personality is something I definitely fall in love with. Like, you could be, okay, you have to have some type of attraction, but I've dealt with niggas that's just no. But to have personality, like, shine to me, and Habesha men, we do value and we do love you. We might not show it, but it's just that can go back to how we were raised too. Like, I know for sure that I'm not a very affectionate person, but I definitely show up and show out for people I care for, and you know that I care about you by the through or support you. So we might not do that to our Habesha men, but know that it's there and that y'all in first place. Okay.
Oh man, it might took us, 27, how many every years to get here, but look, we see y'all. Come see us, shit.
Yeah, I honestly felt really bad. Like, bro, if one more girl gets on here talking about I need a nigga to 6'1", like, girl, like, come on. Like, I'm 5'2.5", okay? The fuck I look like? What do I look like over here? Like, you gotta be sick. Like, you don't. Like, that's just unrealistic, and it's just kind of like, you're getting on here talking shit because Habesha men are not always the tallest. Like, somehow by freak accident, a lot of the boys in our family are tall for no reason, but our uncles,
our brothers
our
getting
dads,
tall, we don't know where it came from.
that's what I'm saying. Our uncles, our dads, or whatever, like, they are not. And some, like, I say this all the time, like, some of my favorite people, like some of my favorite men are barely like 5'5". Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just unrealistic. And I've dated people that are 6'3", and I've dated people that are, 5'6". Like,
I need to go back to listen to who these people are saying that I need a 6'1" nigga. Like, they're those kids, and like, watching your videos from from Nebu and all of them. Back to Rahel saying like how we mature faster. Like, if that was me a couple years ago, I'd be clapping back at them. But because we're older and wiser and we know more, I'm not gonna clap back at them and say like, oh nah, it's y'all. Like, no, we gonna own up to our parts. We did, like, we were going through to the African Americans, and now we're on our way home, and I'm not gonna sit here and argue that, because that is facts. But also, they have to take ownership in their part too, because I feel like then, I don't know what the Habesha guys were thinking about before. Maybe they were trying to get Habesha girls, but I think now at least our generation and up are more focused on African American girls and white girls now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're like trying to intertwine, but it's like no one's like hitting it. You know what I mean? And I mean, I see some that are hitting, like, you know, we have some friends that are dating Habesha people too right now, or getting married to them. So it's like it's happening, but it's just like I feel like we all needed to venture out and then come back. We gotta, don't forget, like, we're first generation too. And I felt like when I was dating my ex who's Black, I tried to explain to my mom, like, you have to realize, you guys brought us to America, but Habeshas are not the only ones in America. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's where there's Black people, there's Mexicans, there's white people, there's West. There's a lot of options here. So it's just like, you can't just put it there and be like, oh, go find some Habeshas, you know? So it's like, we're curious by nature, so we're going to go talk to other people. We're going to go figure it out. But as we get older, we're like, I really like this, our culture, our baptism, our baby showers, our Christmas, our everything. Or just sending money back home that other people would never understand. Right. So that's why I can wrap around and say that that's why I want to end up being with a Habesha, because you don't have to explain these things. You don't have to beg them to go to church with you or go to this for you or just whatever, or just think about going out of the country to go to ID if they're not Black or if they're not Habesha. You just don't have to think about things like that. And it's just like, that's what I'm signing up for.
Yeah. So it is like, so I guess we also are, you know, proving Henok's point that it is part of it is a phase when you're younger. There's a lot of that where you're just like looking into other people, and, you know, he brought up the example of dating a Latino girl, you know, so, or Latina, and how it is kind of difficult for him to constantly explain the culture and, like, you know, things like that. So he did have a point that there is a phase, because I know I wanted the 6'1" light-skinned basketball player, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely did. Dated him, and he was not great, you know what I mean? So it's, I mean, not to say that they're all like that, but sometimes you get what you think you want, and then God tells you that's not what you need, you know, and you learn that the hard way. And I just hope the younger generation can stop learning the hard way, but that's probably not going to happen.
I feel like the younger generation is the one that's bringing it to us.
I think they're putting us up on game, and that's fact. I'm looking around like, damn, I wish I knew that when I wish I was doing that when I was younger. But I don't regret. I'm glad that it happened when I was younger. And also when I was, you know, 21, 22, whatever, 19, 20, I was not thinking long term. I wasn't thinking of how I was going to be as a wife, as a mother. I wasn't thinking about stuff like that. I was thinking about in the now and in the moment. Who's going to look good on my arm? Who's going to give me what I need right now? And as I get older, I'm like, hold on. When we argue, when we get in disagreements, how is all this going to play out? When when we have kids, how are our kids going to be raised? And I'm not saying all people that are not Habesha are like this, but I cannot think about my child going to, you know, their father's side of the family and they're drinking and they're smoking. And I'm not saying Habeshas don't do this, but they're cursing and they're acting wild and they're doing all this, and then they come to, you know, my side of my family and everything's a lot calmer, and my child is confused. And a lot of people that are not Habesha tend to mistake or confuse and think that, you know, we walk around like our shit don't stink, or that we're a better culture, or we don't have problems, or we don't have issues. We do. We never said that we didn't. We may carry it in a different way or present it in a different way. We don't think we're better than the next person. You know what I mean? But I can honestly say we probably hold ourselves to a higher standard. You know what I'm saying? They're kicking their kids out. Huh?
Rightfully so, because our parents legit came from nothing and came from that. And I was just talking about this earlier today. If we put ourselves, our generation, and our parents, we would not make it. Our generation is so lazy that we would not make it.
For real.
I personally can speak for myself. I would not made it for what our parents did. So when they do come to America and they hold us to this standard and they do all this and they're harsh on us, like when I was in high school, I thought my mom like hated me every damn day. She had something to be mad at, and I was just like, what is? I told my mom, I was like, I thought she, but dead ass are because she knew that I could do it. And like, they do act like their shit don't stink, but honestly, like as I get older, I'm like, yo, they have a reason, but they just don't know how to express it better. Like they don't know how to be like, we have came from nothing and worked our way, and no one can take this away from us. Like we're mastering liquor stores, freaking 7-Elevens, all this shit, and just doing what we gotta do. And no, not a lot of people can say that. And like back to Rahel was saying that before, like the culture and just being able to like, we're celebrating. Like I've had people comment on my stories from like Sunlight's bridal shower, and like, yo, you guys party for no reason. Like it's lit. Like we need to come to yours and just. And as you get older, you're like, fuck yeah, like we're lit. Like just that's what we do when we get together, and just the joy is just so lit. And it's just like, I'm so proud of us, and that I don't want no one ever take that away from us. And I don't want my kid to, like you were saying, go over to, if they had a whatever, like if they're by, what's the word? Non-Habesha?
Literally just raised differently though, honestly. Like, I mean, we do have like similar values, but at the same time, like Habesha parents are so damn strict, like especially on the girls. Just like, you know, we couldn't just be going out like whatever time or doing stuff that, like, you know, a lot of kids have the freedom to do here. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, you're a girl, like you gotta chill out, you gotta do this, like relax, you know. And as I grew up, like I started understanding it more and appreciating it more, because I'm like, I turned out pretty all right, you know, compared to like a lot of kids here. And plus, like the way they raised us, it's like I feel like anywhere you are, and like whether there's stuff going on or whatever, like, or you're in some kind of situation, like is it just me, or like are your parents like voices in the back of your head like, okay, what would they be thinking, like if I was doing, or you know, what would they think, or if I got caught, like, yeah, like, you know, you think about it. But that's just how they instilled it, in a way where it's like they make you strong enough to realize, okay, this is how I need to be acting, this is how, you know, because not only are you representing yourself, you're representing your parents, your family, like your country at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So we always hold ourselves to a higher standard.
And I think that what you guys are hitting on, or like what I'm hearing, is just this idea that we're a community-based culture, not an individual one like it is in America. Like they're very individual. Whereas for us, it's like we hit on it earlier, but this idea of like we're a very judgmental culture, and reputation matters, you know? So it's like we do, like, you don't want to be cast out. You don't want to be the family that like nobody wants to fuck with or whatever, like in the community. And like, unfortunately, like, you know, they do watch the children and report back to each other. So those are the type of things that it's just different for us. Like there are obviously some non-Habesha cultures that do that as well, but that's just for us. Like we already know how we need to move, because we know like, oh, such and such sees me, they're telling my parents, they're whatever. Like you got to be way more careful with your shit, like way more careful. And I think you hit on it also, that it's harder for us girls. So I think that sometimes we might come off as like stuck up or snobbish, or like maybe we like act conservative or whatever the case is, but it's because we know that judgment's way harsher on us. And this whole double standard of like, if we acted the same way that the boys did, it'd be a wrap. Like there's no way we could get away with half the shit they do. It just like, well, I was thinking about it earlier today, where I was like, men, like it's such a contradiction, because they want the girls, like they want Habesha women to be beautiful. They want us to hold down the house like our moms do. They want us to be bomb as hell when we go out to the club and act a certain way. Nebby was like, y'all can't twerk. I was like, first of all, we're not gonna twerk on camera. You feel me? Like there's a difference.
They don't know the real demons. They don't know the real demons. That's what it is.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, hold on, we're not gonna do it on camera. But the gag is, we know that there's so much expectations on us as women that we can literally do it all. But it just depends like what atmosphere we're in, what we're willing to show you, because we know that our reputation will precede us.
We're picky with that, yeah. Like, because we're in a culture where it's like you have to, you know, show, like, not even, pretty much like sell your soul for clout, like, right. You know what I mean? dumping milk on your ass and shit. Like, what? You was not about to catch me doing that shit like that.
Making money and shit.
You're right.
Hell no. Because then if I was that girl doing that, would you take me home to your mom? Probably not.
No.
You know?
And I think too, like, I don't know. I mean, and I could be wrong because I've never dated a Habesha, so, but hopefully I'm not wrong. But I feel like Habesha men are probably more accepting of us than non-Habesha men would be in terms of like, probably because they understand and they were raised. And I guess it goes back to that point because they're so used to it, so they wouldn't look at us like, why you walking around with a plastic bag on your head? Like, why you got chunks of butter in your hair? Like, why you don't you have your eyelashes done? You know?
Like, what's that dookie brand on top of your head?
Right. It's just like they're more appreciative of their women because they know that their women are well-rounded. I feel like they trust their women more. I feel like people that are not Habesha probably don't, and they think women have a different intentions, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ever say Habesha women can't twerk, and that's my business.
For real.
But, you know.
It was literally on the stupid demon hours, like it's not stupid, it's entertaining, but I just was like, what, you know how many girls try to get on there and hide their face as if their freaking is not on there? Like,
For real.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like this, like, we have it in us, like we definitely want to let loose and stuff, but we have to do it in like controlled environments. Like, it can't be like,
oh, I be letting loose all right, son.
I mean, like, if you're with your girls, like, you know, I mean, it's your birthday, whatever, like, go ahead, like, you know what I mean? But there's also a certain way to do it, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a tasteful way to, like, do it, and I think that's what we all understand.
Like, we're not, at least for me, I don't plan on twerking at my wedding. Like, I may do a little.
That's just for my husband.
Well, some, but it's like, baby, you married me. Like, you already know what I got.
Right.
Be after.
You said what?
We're gonna do it at the HB after.
I'm freaking crying.
Done.
Like, when I be seeing other people at their wedding and they're like twerking and just doing like, I'm like, oh my God, like, aren't your parents out there?
It's just not our culture.
Yeah,
it's not our culture. Like, it's not that we don't cut up and have fun. It's just like it makes us look like we're stuck up, but we just know that we're gonna be judged. So we're like, okay, like, you know, keep it cute. Like,
yeah.
And it's respect. Like, it's just a respect thing.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah. People that are not Habesha lack that respect for their culture and their people. Yeah, no, that's just disrespectful. I would never. And that's even to go with PDA. You know, I'm not gonna make out with my man in front of my family. Like, y'all bitches ain't nobody. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm somebody.
Yeah,
I have a funny story with that.
Like my aunts, my uncles, like, you're not about to, unless we just sneak off upstairs for like 20 seconds. Because, you know, as soon as you go for too long, they gonna be like, what y'all doing?
What y'all doing?
I have a funny story with that, actually.
Oh,
so one time, I was at my ex-boyfriend's house, and like it was like his nephew's birthday, right? And it was like towards the end of the night, and then like him, his brother, and another person were like, they're about to go somewhere, and I'm like holding the baby, and then I'm with like his other like cousin, and then he's like trying to say bye to me. And I didn't know he, like, you know, put out his like list to give me a kiss bye. But I was like, okay, bye, baby. You know, and he's like, yeah, you go. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I get nervous. I mean, he knows how, like, you know what it is, but it's like, you know, when you're in their house, you're kind of more reserved because like you don't really, like, I mean, of course I want to show affection to you, but you know, like you don't really know how to act. You're still trying to be like respectful. So it was just funny. I was like, my bad.
Yeah. Bro, so me and the boys got into it too. We're like, dude, our culture is like, we're affectionate in one area, like for our like familial relationships, our platonic relationships, like where, you know, 3 kisses, the hugs, you know, whatever. The relationships, you don't be seeing nobody's parents holding hands, like, you know, kissing on each other. Like, you don't see that shit. So we're just naturally uncomfortable, you know? And then we're like, grow up in the American context and you're damn.
It's funny because like my parents are like they're still affectionate. It's like really cute, and I'm happy like I get to see that because I mean it's still like not normal, you know, because just like you said, like overall in the Habesha community, like our parents don't really be doing that. Like, but my parents, like, whether it's like my mom coming from work or my dad coming over, they always like greet each other with like a kiss and say hi. And like, you know, my dad is always affectionate. Like my mom are holding her hand, you know, and I'm like, oh, like so cute. I love it, you know. So it's nice to see that, especially amidst of like a culture where it's not really like normal. Like even like in the dramas and stuff in the movies, like when it's like a sexy, I swear I'll just be waking up. It just be the next day. Like nothing. Like what they do.
I didn't see it until like my uncle and aunt, but they were younger. Like they grew up here, you know.
Yeah.
So they were definitely like more affectionate, and I was like, okay, I guess there's, you know what I mean? Like there's an in between, like it is okay sometimes, like, all right. Like, so I've had to kind of navigate it for myself. And I had to admit to myself, I do want that affection and I do like it. And there's just a certain level of PDA that I'm okay with. And then there's other levels where I'm like, bro, if you don't get off of me. Like, I
save that for the bedroom.
Yeah, like chill out, bro. Don't everybody need to know what we, you know, like chill out. But so I made the point that maybe even on a subconscious level in terms of marrying or dating Habesha, at least for me, I should just speak for myself, is that because like I didn't see that affection and all that, and I know that I do want it, that sometimes when I look at Habesha men, I'm like, damn, like, you know, like, am I gonna get that from you? You know what I mean? Like, and I had to realize too that I had to kind of grow up out of that too, because they grew up the same way I did. So who's to say that they don't want that kind of relationship also, and that we could determine that for ourselves? You know, and I mean, y'all know, like more recently, there's some Habesha men we know that are a little bit more affectionate, and I'm like, okay, let me find out. You know what I mean? Like,
where you been all my life, baby?
You know, where's B Simone where you need her? I need a boyfriend. So it's definitely kind of been really cool to see kind of this transformation, and we touched on it. So like kind of where I wanted to wrap. So what the boys, Roby was like, he ended us on the question of like, why do Habesha women say Habesha men ain't shit? And I was like, damn. So we kind of touched on a lot of that. Like, and then we already talked about how the Habesha, I'm just gonna say the younger generation, okay, be just getting on them. Like, oh, you need to be this tall, you need to whatever. But I kind of also brought up some of the dysfunction that we see in Habesha families in terms of like, you know, Habesha men not staying or having a second family in ID, or like we'll see the kind of that brokenness in the community. And I talked to one of my cousins recently from back in the Bay where I grew up, and we realized too that the Bay just a little bit ghetto, because it was like really prevalent over there. And then when I moved to Denver, it was kind of like, I don't see that as much here. You know what I mean? Like we might know a couple of them, but it's not like as prevalent, or maybe it's just not as talked about because I'm not as familiar with the community. But just this idea too that our parents having to survive a war, you know what I mean? Getting like married young, like they didn't even really know themselves yet, and they were in survival mode so long that some of them, you know, didn't really marry for happiness or the like love. It was kind of like you just got married because that was what was expected, or it was arranged or whatever. And then they kind of grow up, and that's why you don't really see the love in all the like families. Like it's great that you guys had that example, but we kind of brought up examples of, you know, the Habesha couples that really don't communicate outside of like what their kids are doing, you know, or they stay together for the kids, but like they don't really have a relationship. And so some of us also see like Habesha relationships in that way, where we're like, damn, is there any love and affection in these relationships, or like are we tripping? You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean,
I don't think Habesha men ain't shit.
Yeah. Or even, I mean, personally, I've never said any shit unless it was just like a joke. Because of who you're dealing with, you're just like, they ain't shit. But you can't really say, I've never heard anybody say Habesha men ain't shit. Because, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, the guys that leave and go have another family, you know, like, that's their stories. I don't know. But I don't think I've ever heard anybody say Habesha men ain't shit, at least for our generation thing. Into other ones, I don't think that we, like, personally, I haven't dated anybody to say they're not shit. So I
agree.
I mean, there are a lot of men ain't shit the same way there are a lot of women that ain't shit. Like, and they might not. You probably just not shit to me and what we had going on. But you feel me? Somebody's trash is another man's treasure, woman's treasure, whatever you want to call it. But you feel me? I mean, there are different situations that bring out different sides of people, and you know, bad breakups can have you saying, "Oh, men ain't shit, women ain't shit," but
there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, and then down the line, you're like, okay, you know, you are a good person. We just
didn't work out.
But I have a question. Do you guys think that a marriage can last only on love? Or like, you know, when we talk about our parents are like, you know, they didn't marry for love or whatever. Do you feel like if you have love, all you need is love? Do y'all feel like that?
I don't.
Or do you feel like when you marry somebody, you're kind of looking at it like I don't want to say a business deal. I don't want to sound like a gold digger, but like, I feel like you have to look like, yes, I love you. I genuinely love you and I want the best for you, but financially you're irresponsible. You're immature. And it's just like, what do you think? Do you think that there are like 3 things or a list of things that a marriage is based on? Or can you say, oh, we love each other, so we gonna make it through whatever?
I don't think that love is all you need. I think it's a part of what you need because you're gonna need love when the times is hard. But I think it's a partnership for sure in a sense because you need that ambition one another. When you, like you're saying earlier, if I'm not like in the mood today, I gotta make sure that you got it. You gonna hold it down. You know what I mean? Like if I'm having a rough day, I can trust on you, or I'm not gonna like, oh, I gotta take care of the kids because he's not gonna take care of it, or like. If I don't know how to do something, you know how to get me there. If I know how to do something, I can get you there. You know, there's levels to it for sure, but I don't think that love's gonna be the only thing that gets you there. I think it's a big part of it, but I don't think it's all. And I think that's why our parents, like my parents were arranged marriage for sure, and now they're 32 years in their marriage. But I mean, not everything's freaking roses and shit, but it's just like I think that you learn to love someone and through what you've been through, I guess. It's like trial and error, I feel like.
It's for me it's respect. Like I gotta, like if I don't have the ultimate respect for you, there's gonna be times when we're fighting or whatever, then it's gonna be easy for me to be like, fuck this shit. Why am I, like why am I really dealing with this? But I feel like I really need to respect you and like not just love you like romantically, but like love you in terms of like you are my friend. You know what I mean? Because like I personally I feel like my friendships are like the most important relationships for me because you're gonna be there whether the man is there or not. You know what I'm saying? Like God forbid anything happen in the relationship, like I know my girls are gonna be there regardless. So I feel like I need to have that same energy in a relationship. Like you're also my friend, and like that will carry us through the times that I don't necessarily like you. But like I'll still love you. I just won't like you. And at least if I respect you, like it'll just make things a little bit easier down the road.
That's true. I think like going like touching base a little bit on that like friend part, like your partner has to be like your best friend. You know what I mean? It's the love that makes it even better. But that friendship is really like y'all's foundation. That makes sense.
Definitely, I think it all ties back to love because when you love somebody, you're gonna be honest. I mean, at least you should be honest. You should communicate, and you should try to learn from them. I genuinely love you. I want the best for us as a team, and I'm gonna be there to support you. And there are some habits that I have that I know once I, have a partner or whatever that are not going to be sustainable or that are not going to be smart decisions for me to continue to do, and I think, like I said, that all ties back to love. There are things I'm not going to do a complete, change of who I am, but it's all about give and take. And there are going to be days where, you know, your man's going to spit some real shit and you're going to have to sit there like, yeah, baby, you was right.
Right.
You have to put that to the side. And there's going to be days where you're going to have to be like, I told you. Shit.
That kind of touches on something for me in terms of the being first generation and understanding love in two different contexts. You know, I think I mentioned it on a different episode, but it was just this idea that and Henok definitely went to it a little deeper, of our parents' idea of what love is like love is an action to them. To them it's like you have a roof over your head, there's food on your table, like it's definitely all that survival stuff. And then love is like how you take care of your family and like how you show up for your community and stuff like that. And then I think in the American context, we watch a lot of freaking movies, so we think this like we think of love in like the gestures of the roses and the date night,
the materialistic stuff.
Yeah, and like that's all cool too. You could have both, but I feel like if you don't have the foundational stuff of like, for me, love is an action, you know, then like that's not gonna work. I definitely that I have the struggle with of being first generation. I'm always like, is this a Habesha value or is this an American value? Like, where is this coming from? Or like, why do I feel like I need this? And I think that's also why we might have had that phase of being not so willing to date Habeshas in the beginning, because when you're younger you have like this Disney idea of what love is supposed to be, and then you kind of grow up and you kind of see how your parents actually like last or don't last, and then you're like, okay, this is real life. Like shit is not a movie. Shit's not sweet all the time, you know?
Takes a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say there?
Coming to America wedding, that's it.
Marry you a Habesha man and you will. It's like,
I'm ready for that wedding whenever you are.
Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be ill ahead of time so I could, you know, do lipo or something.
They're older, so I'll wait my turn.
How we get in the gym? It's okay.
I'm so fed up with y'all. I just want to say thank you, ladies, for joining me. I felt like the conversation was dope, that we really hit on some really good stuff, and hopefully, like, you know, we get some good feedback on it too. And I'm gonna talk about it.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, good.
She just said fuck y'all.